Yo, what's going on people? It's your boy Ape Huncho, back at you again with another video. Now I hope you and all of your family are keeping safe during this lockdown period. Hopefully we don't have too long left now. With it being spring and soon being summer, I'm hoping that over the next 4 to 6 weeks that this is all over and we can go back to normal. So as I said in my previous coronavirus video, I'd keep you updated on some relevant news even though I didn't want to cover it all the time. And also in that video we were discussing how with the new coronavirus laws it had now become a criminal offence to purposely cough or spit at people or even threaten to do this while claiming to have the virus, and it carried an even greater sentence if this was aimed at a key worker, that being nurses, police, etc. With the Crown Prosecution Service going on to say that they'll impose a sentence for up to 12 months in jail for anyone who is committing these offences. So we've seen that since the law had come into place, a lot of people were getting arrested for these kind of offences, but only a few had been charged. And I reported that a man had been jailed for 12 months and a woman had been jailed for 12 weeks. And if you want to see that video, I'll leave that video link down in the description. Feel free to go and check that out. Now, before we get into the latest sentences of people getting jailed for coughing and spitting at key workers or threatening to cough and spit at them while claiming to have the virus, it's recently been reported that a court hearing was held in the back of a custody van for the first time in history over fears a defendant was suffering from the coronavirus. Justin Gearson, aged 48, was brought to Westminster Magistrates Court in the prison escort van on April the 3rd, 2020, but was not invited to appear in the dock after complaining he was carrying the COVID-19 virus. He's accused of holding Susie Fitzgerald hostage by pinning her to a duvet with a pillow over her face on the 31st of March 2020 at a flat in Powis Square, Westminster. Prosecutors claim he pulled Miss Fitzgerald's hair and later became intoxicated and obnoxious when he went to the local off-licence to buy booze. District Judge Michael Snow, Prosecutor Dami Enola, the defence lawyer and the court clerk had wore protective masks and gloves while the defendant remained inside his cubicle in the van. On his return, the judge had explained how the hearing went ahead and the precautions that were taken. Judge Snow had went on to say because he's suspected of suffering from coronavirus, and we, extraordinarily, in the current day, have no ability to get it done by video link, he had to be produced in a special van and it wasn't safe for him to be produced in court. He pleaded guilty to the breach and not guilty to the assault. We are not in a position to fix a trial date because of the coronavirus epidemic. The allegation is that he entered the victim's flat and dragged her around by her hair and somehow ended up in bed with her. She said he put a pillow over her face and held onto her all night so she couldn't escape. The following day he left and went to the local newsagents, bought alcohol and became intoxicated and obnoxious, which led to the police being called. Gearson of Talbot Road, Kensington admits breaching a restraint order but denies assaulting by beating. He was then taken back to prison where he remains in isolation and was remanded until his next court appearance on the 16th of April 2020. So it does seem like 3 men were jailed this week for coughing, spitting or threatening to infect people with COVID-19, and it seems like West Midlands Police have now issued a firm warning to anyone who uses the coronavirus as a threat against their officers. So on Monday, the 6th of April 2020, a judge at Warwick Crown Court gave the clearest indication yet that such crimes will not be tolerated when he immediately jailed a teenager for 6 months. Judge Andrew Lockhart QC had told Thomas Wilson he should be thoroughly ashamed of himself after the 19-year-old had threatened to spit in a female officer's face as she detained him over an alleged road rage incident in Coventry. Officers arrested him at 12:30 p.m. on the 31st of March in London Road, Coventry, after it's claimed he spat at a lorry driver and brandished an axe during an altercation in Brinklow Road. He resisted arrest and suggested he had COVID-19 symptoms before threatening to cough and spit at the police officer.
Calm down. Neil, I'll start coughing in all your faces. No, you won't.
Wilson from Hepworth Road, Binley, was charged with possessing an offensive weapon, a public order offence, assault by spitting at the lorry driver, and assaulting an emergency services worker. Most charges were to be dealt with at a later date, but Judge Lockhart had jailed Wilson after he admitted the spit threat, saying it is necessary to send out a clear message this behaviour is not acceptable. The court will not hesitate to support officers as they go about their business to protect others by imposing swift punishments. In the front line during this COVID-19 crisis are the emergency services. They deserve and will have proper and timely protection from the courts. On the same day, another man, Bevan Burke, was jailed after he spat at a shopkeeper who had banned him from the shop for shoplifting. Burke had stormed into Allens Croft Post Office, Northfield, Birmingham, on the 3rd of April 2020 and spat at the victim, shouting, "I have corona, you're going to die," having been told he was barred following a previous shoplifting incident. West Midlands police officers identified Burke as the offender and arrested him later that day from his home in Reservoir Close, where they found him hiding in a cupboard. While being transported to police custody, the 22-year-old had begun coughing and blowing towards officers and would go on to say this.
He's got no respect for anyone, him there. He's going to get corona and die.
That's the thing that's got you in this position, isn't it? Stop doing that.
What? What? Having corona?
Doing behaviour like that. I swear to God.
I have got it. Ask the doctors.
Look that way. I swear to God.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, you've got corona now then. Yeah, you're going to have that now. You're going to have caught that.
Am I?
Yep.
He was jailed for 42 weeks at Birmingham Crown Court after admitting assaulting emergency workers and the shopkeeper, plus shoplifting at the convenience store on the 10th of January 2020. West Midlands Assistant Chief Constable Danny Long had welcomed the tough stance by the courts, adding, "It's completely unacceptable for people to behave in this way against officers, other emergency services staff, key workers, or indeed any member of the public." At a time of heightened concern across the whole country, a minority of people are using the threat of coronavirus as a weapon. It will not be tolerated, and offenders have now been sent a clear warning. There is a very real risk you will be sent to prison. And a 54-year-old man was also given a prison sentence on the 6th of April 2020 for spitting in the face of a West Midlands police officer in Birmingham city centre. Officers attended a petrol station in Corporation Street at around 9:45 p.m. on Saturday the 4th of April 2020 following reports of a drunk man causing problems, pouring fuel on the floor and obstructing traffic. Anthony Evans, of no fixed address but originally from Atherstone in Warwickshire, tried kicking out at them as they detained him and spat in an officer's face, and he was jailed for 16 weeks at Birmingham Crown Court. Now, if there is any more relevant crime coronavirus news that comes out, as always, I'll let you guys know. So it does seem like the court and the Crown Prosecution Service are really standing behind police and emergency service workers and even the members of public when it comes to people trying to use COVID-19 as some kind of weapon that they can use against people. And it really does seem that they're really pushing for these prison sentences for these people who are claiming that they have the virus when they go around doing these things. So just bear that in mind if you do find yourself in a position where you're getting stopped by police for whatever reason. I'd advise that you probably don't say you have COVID-19 and try and cough and spit at people or threaten people, because it really does seem like, from other reports that I've read also, that the Crown Prosecution Service and the police are really gunning to put people in jail for doing these kind of things. But let me know what you guys think of this in the comment section below. Do you feel like the Crown Prosecution Service and the judges are being too harsh on people because, for example, somebody might be drunk and it might be out of character for them? Or do you feel like this is the right thing to do to prevent further cases from happening? Give the video a little like, and if you want the latest drill, street and music news out of the UK, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. It's been your boy Huncho, and I'm out.